beautiful, make it beautiful. Age of new beginnings, make it beautiful.
Come on. That's what we do here.
Make it beautiful, make it beautiful.
Come on.
Hi, welcome to the Age of New Beginnings, and I am with a friend that I cherish. He's a brother, he's a friend, he's family. He's a gorgeous essence of light, as well as his wife Ruby, who I adore. For 2.5 years, we did an exquisite class, and it was about the violet flame. And there is nobody more eloquent and does the violet flame as exquisite as you do. So this evening, you're going to get to know one of the best people in the universe. I mean, everybody's wonderful and a brilliant light, but you just teach everybody how to vibrate at the most beautiful frequency.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sister Ellen. Thank you.
Oh,
thank you.
so yes, I want you to meet Reverend Norbert Larcher.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you wanted me to
Well, let everybody know what's yet to come.
what's yet to come.
Because today you're doing a program.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and we run classes over
Yes.
here in meditation.
Oh, tell them.
And
I know, I
run
love it.
classes in meditation, and also I teach or lecture on the violet consuming flame.
Norbert used to do, we used to do classes for about 2.5 years at my place in Lake Ronkonkoma
that's
at the
right.
Beach Club Estate.
Yes.
And now he is doing it at his home in Queens, which we will give you the address so you can come experience the most beautiful, beautiful, beautiful experience.
With the not only that, you know, a lot of people are used to the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
In the churches, it's about the Holy Spirit. So the people who have asked me, when you talk about the violet consuming flame, what is it? So I say to them, well, it is on par with the Holy Spirit. In fact, it is the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
So with the violet consuming flame, we need, it's so important, I think, very important, that each of us, as children of the light, which is who we are,
That's who we are.
we have to come into the understanding, the awareness,
Yes.
and realization of who we really are.
Yeah.
And also this violet consuming flame, we need it. It accelerates the ascension, our ascension.
It does.
So we really need it. Basically, this flame is so important for each of us. I mean, this is a flame that and while I'm talking about it,
I'm getting so excited because I'm in chills. The more you understand it, it's a fold. It's like a triangle.
Yes.
And it's exquisite the way you project it, because it's supposed to be unconditional love,
Of course.
forgiveness,
Yes.
and a transformation.
That's
But
right.
it's also
Transmutation, which leads to
Yes,
transformation.
There you go.
And of course, this is something that, as I said before, that we need to ascend. It accelerates. It helps us to ascend quicker. The violet.
What I love about this is very empowering.
Of
And
course.
so many people today, or whenever, feel powerless.
Yes.
But what happens is when you get the understanding and when you get the consciousness, you can't help but beam. You feel empowered. You having a rough day, you envision it in the beautiful violet flame and the energy shifts. If someone walks in the room and they're a grouch, and visiting them in the violet flame, and it shifts the energy.
Yes.
Understanding
Yes.
the power of the magic of, you need a spot, and envision the violet flame, and you're thanking God and the universe, and thank you.
And that's what.
Oh, baby, we were in a big monster truck, and we got a spot over here. And
Exactly.
that's insane. Oh, thank you, God, never. But it is using the essence of all that is God and the
Of
Holy
course.
Spirit.
Yeah, the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Now, with this, when we were up there, we used to, when we meditated, I taught about invoking the flame.
Yes.
How we invoke that flame. It has to be like dynamic decrees.
Yes.
Violet flame, come forth. Violet flame, come forth. Violet flame, come forth. And when we call the flame, we know that it will come forth. It will be projected.
You can feel it.
You can feel it.
Oh, the
And-
chills, the vibration, the energy.
Boy,
Wow.
I tell you, beautiful.
So fabulous.
And then we did the using the flame, and of course, along with mental visualization or
so
picturing,
important, yes.
which is what we have to do, then we start the flame, we take it from the feet, and we take it right through the physical body, and then the mental body and the emotional body, and cleanse the aura. It does all that.
It's so amazing.
And
He even goes into every organ.
Every organ,
Your
tissue,
bloodstream.
every cell, the bloodstream, to reactivate or re-energize the cells in the bloodstream.
Yes.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
It works through the dynamics of the energy fields. It goes through the essence of the body, the bloodstream, the organs, every cell. It is so that you can visualize it, you can experience it. It just
And that's what we need to do.
oh yes.
You know, when you call it forth, because and when you, as I said, when you do that exercise, then you really, not only that you do it for yourself, because it's self-healing,
It is.
but remember we used to project that flame
Yes.
into the universe.
Into the universe, around the earth.
Around the earth, to your family members who at the time may be needing healing.
Always,
You know,
yes.
because it's God's flame, and it's really, you are the flame.
Yes.
And we have to understand that too.
And what's really important is the power of intention.
Yes.
That when you're working with this exquisite, beautiful, magical flame, putting the intention of giving love,
Yes.
giving love to the family, giving
That's
love to
right.
ourselves, giving love to everybody around the earth.
That's right.
And shifting anything with negative intentions to the most beautiful, highest of vibrations.
That's right. And it's the highest vibration in
Yes,
the
it is.
universe.
That's what the Bible
And sometimes people talk about frequency and vibration. I say, well, they're much the same.
They are.
You know, they're synonymous with one another. Frequency and vibration means the same.
It does.
So the violet consuming flame really is the greatest power in the universe. And that comes from the I am of all infinity.
Yes.
And then your I am presence, because
Yes.
you're calling it from that I am, which
I
is
am. It
which
is.
is the individualized
It's
presence
presence.
of God. And that presence lies 60
There
foot
you go.
approximately
That's right.
above you.
That's right.
So
That's I want to make sure that
the-
everybody understood. What happens is we are the I am. We are the essence of all that is. We are all the I am. But there's an essence of yourself there's God, the high essence of all that is, and just between God and us, about 60 feet up, like
Yeah.
Norbert was saying, is your higher self.
Yes. Some people call it the higher self.
Yes.
The over self.
Yes.
The God self.
The God self.
But that is that little piece. If you want to think about it, each one of us
Yes.
is a portion
Yeah.
of that divinity, or we can say the totality of all energy,
Yes.
which is God, which is the I am of all infinity. And each of us
Yes.
is a little portion, and each of us has an I am presence.
We do.
Every one of us.
I love it because when you connect to the essence of the I am presence, your higher self, you're looking at yourself from the essence of God's light. So you're able to, as if when you're holding a kitten or a puppy, you have all this beautiful love and you're able to be softer on yourself, more forgiving to self,
Yes.
more nurturing to self.
Yes.
Because it's very easy to give that away.
Yes.
But to connect to that and learn how to give it to yourself,
Yes.
to empower yourself, to feel safer, to feel deserving of the essence of all that is. Because some people, you can't beat yourself up because you're beating up God, because you're the essence of God. And when you hear it from the most eloquent voice from Norbert,
Thank you, thank you, thank
oh,
you.
it just goes through your whole being in such a beautiful vibrational way, doesn't it, Ruby?
When,
Oh, God.
You know, when Brother Jesus said,
Yes.
I am the vine, that's
Yes.
what, and you are the branch. Well, the
Yes.
vine and the branch, they're connected.
Yes.
My Father and I are one. So he was talking about the triune. I think it's more like mind, spirit, and body.
How beautiful, that's right.
Mind, spirit, and body. And I always say to people, listen, the body is a counterpart of the mind and the spirit. The body is the only thing that crumbles
That's
and
right.
goes to dust.
that's why it's so important to stay in the right intention of the mind, getting the mind in the most beautifulest place, because that's your soul essence that never dies.
Of course,
Yes.
definitely,
Yes.
definitely.
Yeah.
That is super. What you
And
just
when your
said there.
body is strong and healthy, your mind is, your body can fight anything,
Of course.
overcome anything.
Of course.
So to be able to understand it the way you project it, so you can feel like there's nothing you can't do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is my take on the violet flame.
Now this is Rob, and Rob Scarpa, who once upon a time, how many years ago, took the class
Well,
in
4 or 5
Ronkonkoma
years
with
ago.
me and Norbert. And at that time, you really didn't know much about spirituality. You were pretty much a newbie, which is what most people are who are watching this. And from where you were to where you are now, how has your life changed?
It's definitely gotten better. Life has definitely gotten better.
Especially no matter where you go, you say, I'm living the
I'm
dream.
living the dream, absolutely, all the time. And it's not about financial, it's not about the job, it's not about all those things. They all go with it in life getting better, but the improvement is in yourself first. And once you start to feel good about yourself, then it changes the dynamic of everything else in your life. I mean, there's no two ways about it. And everything gets better. And with that, this teaching taught me to utilize the violet flame, which is the Holy Spirit, the color of the Holy Spirit in the visible light spectrum. We start with red and we end with violet. And that's the highest frequency vibration that there is in the visible light spectrum. And that is the Holy Spirit. That's there for us. It's there to heal us. It's there to help us connect with Spirit, with Source, to find our way. And
Now, when you first came and you first started hearing about it, what was your first thought?
really, you want to know my first thoughts?
Yeah.
What am I getting into? What is this? Is this a cult? But then you realize it's not. You realize really fast it's not, because they're not saying anything that you don't already know. You're just learning about it. It's being put in a proper perspective. In the perspective that we're all divine beings. We're all God beings. Spirit is inside of us. It's inside everybody and in everything. And once you start to realize that and you synchronize with all of that, then things start to get better. And in this journey, one of the most important realizations is that your words have power. Your words are creation. So everything you say, everything you think is your reality. So
Now, how have your relationships have shifted in your life since before
you win
to
some
now?
and you lose some. You get a lot of new friends, you lose some old friends.
But
Absolutely.
your family, I think you're stronger with. I think you brought a lot of people into a higher vibration. I think you create a lot of happiness, because the happiness within you that everybody saw.
Well, like we've heard before, the rising tide lifts all boats, right?
Yes.
So I start to feel better, then it really relates directly to the people I'm closest to, my family, my children, my grandchildren. So from there, if you're in a good place, it's easier for them to be in a good place, and that's contagious. No one wants to walk around feeling miserable all day. Everybody wants to feel good about themselves, about their lives, their jobs, their careers, and their health. And that's what it's all about. And once you start to feel good about all of those things, it only gets better, provided you control and watch your words, watch your thoughts, and be nice to everybody.
Yeah. Now here's Norbert, and what I loved about Norbert is,
Give me a
come
brother.
on in, Bobby,
Yeah,
that you
this is-
taught the affirmation when
Yeah.
we were doing the class. We were doing the I am affirmations.
The I am. Yeah, we did a lot of the I ams.
And at first, I know Rob had a really hard time of saying, I am wonderful, I am magnificent, I am an essence of, whoops-a-daisy, of God's light, and all these incredible, magnificent things that are just so phenomenal. I mean, Rob, what was that like in the beginning when you first were saying
Affirmations in the beginning.
Yeah.
If you thought it was strange, I'm like, really? But because you already know who you are. But then once you start to say it, affirmations, and affirm who you are and what you are, it just builds upon itself. And then before you know it, you're saying, I am magnificent, and you know it.
But then what happened is, remember in the very early, when you came in, now, there's something I wanted to say here too. There is a statement which is so true. When the pupil is ready, the teacher will arrive. So remember, you came in and he was completely green.
Very much so, very
When
much
you
so.
call it green, but here was a guy, I always felt it from the first time
Absolutely.
I met Robert. I thought I called him brother.
Yes.
I called him brother. I said, Brother Robert. And then this is a picture of yourself, really.
Really?
This is the picture. That's you down here. And of course, naturally, you have this violet flame, or you're in a tube of violet. Naturally, everyone, even if you may not know it, but you're born with this. You have this around you. This violet, this tube, and then around the tube you have the white light. Now this, we call it the tube of white light. Now we have the gold, you have also the pink, and you have these colors of the rainbow, if you want to call it. Between here and here it's not on this chart,
Yes.
but between here and here is what is called your higher mental body.
Yes.
And so when you leave the earth plane, because we transited, we have to leave, everybody knows that. It's a transition. Then you enter your higher mental body, which is a very real body in every way. That is the body that, if you remember in the Bible where it states that Mary Magdalene came to touch Jesus, and Jesus said, "Do not touch me, for I have not yet ascended." He was in his higher mental body. And from here, you enter the I am. Really speaking, every one of us is electronic. And if you look at all these rays there, these, if you want to call it, a lot of the good that you have done in previous lives. So a lot of times you can sit down and you can call for all of that too, because we've been brought up
Yes.
with Jesus.
Yes.
The great ascended master Jesus, an awesome power in the universe, revered by all the ascended masters. And so we know about, a lot of us who were brought up with Jesus, but we've never heard about Brother Saint Germain. Now, Brother Saint Germain is actually, when we speak of the violet flame, he is the Lord of the seventh ray. And we are going through the seventh ray right now.
We are.
And the Lord of the seventh ray is the violet. And he is the Lord of the seven. He is the keeper of the flame. They have the angels of the violet consuming flame, but Brother Saint Germain is the keeper of the flame, because he was the one who went out in those days and he said, "I will make it happen."
Yeah.
And the
So-
other ascendant said, no, it's not possible. For lots of stuff, so.
So when you speak of the violet flame, people associate it with Saint Germain. So it comes in that alignment, that beautiful essence of understanding.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like when you think of Archangel Michael, you think of protection.
Yes.
You think of speaking the truth.
Yes.
But when you think of Saint Germain,
Yes.
you think of the violet flame.
Violet flame.
Yeah.
And of course he did the flame.
Yes.
The flame can do so much.
It does.
And people have to know that it's not just the other life, but in this physical world, if you think about what that does,
Yes.
you will see that the violet flame, like when I teach what is called
Tell them.
when I teach what is called the cloaking or shielding
Oh,
of the
is that
aura,
beautiful?
which
Yes.
is something
Yes.
that each person has to do and should do.
Yes.
So I always put the violet, and then I put the tube of white light, and then on top of that, but you have to mentally visualize it, violet, then you mentally visualize the tube of white, then you visualize the golden flame and the pink flame. That pink flame comes from Sister Neda, who is also a great ascended master, and Lady Akasha, who represents the female aspect of God. Now, a lot of people, when we talk about God,
Yes.
we talk in a male figure.
Yes.
But I say to them, listen, you should know by now that God is both male and
Both,
female.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
Lady Akasha
Yes.
represents the female aspect of God.
Yes.
And then you have the outer, Michael the archangel. And we know what Michael does.
Yes.
And we know how powerful he is. Yes. We also have to know that he's doing a lot of work on the fourth dimension, which is a dimension that we will move to once we leave the earth plane. So he does a lot of work down there with souls who were very stubborn before, lost souls, if we want to say lost souls, souls that were very stubborn. They never believed in nothing. In fact, some of them, when they get on the other side, they don't even know that they have left their bodies until such time that the guides come to them and say, listen, you're no longer in your body.
Right.
You are here with us.
That's right.
And a lot of times is when they start to see people they knew while they were on the earth plane had died.
Right.
Then they realize, well, I'm really out of my body. I'm with them now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful thing. But this, I will continue to actually, I'll focus on that and continue to pass this message to the world. Because when Brother Saint Germain chose Brother Godfrey and Sister Lotus, those were his messengers. He found them after many, many, many years, and then he chose them to be his messengers. They actually took that and they did such great work with it, took it into the world. So this is the very thing I'm doing. For those who have reached a point where they are ready to accept.
Absolutely.
And we're not supposed to force anybody.
When I first met you and you explained to us that Jesus was the shepherd of the Piscean era.
Piscean era.
Right? And his job was to teach us about the oneness, about the Holy Spirit, about our connection to all that is.
Yes.
And Saint Germain is the shepherd of the Aquarian era.
Yes.
Right? So we have entered the age of Aquarius now. We've left the Piscean era.
Yes.
So now our new figurehead, our new guide, as it were, and they still work in conjunction. There's no separation between Yeshua, Jesus, and Saint Germain and all of the saints and ascendeds. But knowing that Saint Germain is now the new guy in town.
Well, he's been around for a while.
He's been around, but
He's been around for a very long time.
it's the new dynamic we're working with.
In fact, when people ask me who is Saint Germain, and I try to say to them, well, listen, we re-embody, you know?
Yes.
And of course, in that lifetime, he was Joseph. So he was Jesus's guardian or daddy.
Yeah.
So who would know more about Jesus than Brother Saint Germain?
Absolutely.
So this is why I have the two of them, Brother Jesus and Brother Saint Germain. But there again, how are you going to prove it to people?
Right.
Because
But what I love is when, in other words, what your passion is projecting the violet flame. It's projecting healing and love and understanding.
Healing, love, protection,
absolutely.
Cleansing.
So when you have your meditations at your home that you do quite frequently, and the healings, you do it utilizing this beautiful energy that is your life passion.
Yes.
And understanding, yes, we're in a new era, we're in a new time, we're in a new age, and the vibrational energy is just phenomenal, more phenomenal. I mean, people think of things and all of a sudden things start shifting and happening. I mean, there is no better time than the energy of now, and learning and understanding how to utilize that to co-create. And because the whole essence, using the violet flame, you are using God's light energy, the highest vibration of God's energy. So you're not taking anything away from God. You are actually magnifying yourself to have a stronger connection to God.
Yeah.
So this is not separate from God. It is connected. It is exquisite. And here in Queens, what is your address?
218-63 110th Avenue, Queens Village, New York 11429.
And how often do you have these?
Those meetings?
The meetings.
Yeah.
I mean, you create a church in your home.
Yes.
And in your church, you hold meditations.
Yes.
And like we're going to experience in a little while, which is going to be phenomenal and wonderful.
Yes.
And in that meditation, the reason why people adore it is it's beyond a knowing, it's a feeling. It vibrates within you. In other words, you know truth when you feel those chills, when you feel that the feeling of inner knowing, when you have that absolute essence of knowing this rings true, you know? And so coming and feeling that will shift your life like never before.
It is true. And as I said, also with this, if you really think about it, there's a reason why we were given the violet consuming
Absolutely.
flame.
It is a gift. It is a tool.
It's a beautiful tool,
Yes.
a beautiful gift.
Yes.
Because of, and it does so much, like dissolving and transmuting and changing. Like when you use it to protect and you pour it around you, and anyone would project, say, haphazardly, as a lot of people project their thoughts haphazardly.
Yes.
It could be an unkind thought, it could be a jealous thought, it could be an envious thought, whatever, and it hits that violet that you have around you.
Yes.
What happens is it transmutes the negative.
It does.
And when it transmutes the negative, it returns it to positive, so that doesn't touch you. Now, what is how a great thing that is.
How powerful and beautiful that is.
Oh, yes.
Because we are human and we're not perfect, but yet when we utilize a flame, it keeps us at this beautiful vibration that can create magnificence reality. So when you use a violet flame to cloak, because not everybody even knows what the essence of what you meant by cloak. The essence of when you use that violet flame around you.
Yes.
In other words, let's say you're going into a meeting and not everybody is nice.
Yes.
You know, that when you're cloaked, it protects you from negative thoughts, negative...
I always listen, when I teach about cloaking. Now, cloaking, some people call it shielding.
Yes.
Shielding and cloaking are much the same.
It is.
So when I use the violet to cloak, first to begin, I will give my profound love and gratitude.
Yes.
To the I am of all infinity, then to my I am presence, and then I start the cloaking.
Yes.
And then I first build the violet, and then the white light, and then the gold, and then the pink, and then the blue. Yes. Now I ask people to do it last thing at night before you turn into bed, and first in the morning before you leave for work. So that keeps you in this cocoon of positive, most powerful energy that no one can actually penetrate. So you become invincible.
Yes.
Invincible against everything not of the light.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. And now you had said that you want to do it before you go to sleep. And can you share why you would want to do it before you go to sleep?
Because we can, I would say, we become very vulnerable in the sleep state.
We do.
You know, and there are people who, I have heard of people who have been attacked psychically.
Oh, yes.
At night.
Yes.
You would know some of that.
Yeah, I've gone through that once upon a time.
Okay,
but not anymore.
Not anymore.
Ever since you own the essence of the violet flame, understanding that that's your gift, that's for you to utilize in your life, that there is nothing or no one that can penetrate and throw anything that isn't of love onto me, because we are love.
And then you have to accept your identity as a divine person.
Yes.
You have to accept. You have to first claim it.
Yes.
But the thing about the acceptance, that is what that people are finding hard to do, because people were brought up in different religions and were taught certain things
they're not enough.
They, you know what I'm saying?
I do.
So they're not ready for that acceptance.
Right.
But the thing, and you cannot push nobody.
No.
But the thing about it is, I always say to people, and for people who want to accept, that, and I said it earlier, the totality of the human being is body, mind, and spirit. We're here for a little while, but a short time, and then we transit the earth. Now, people say, well, you die. No one can die. Even if you want to die, you cannot die. The only thing that dies is the clothing, the temple, the Bible teaches of the temple, the house that houses you, the husk, or they call it sometimes the overcoat. Okay? So this is the only thing that dies. The spirit, which is the reality that gives the body life, and the mind, that can never die. That is
Age of new beginnings. Make it beautiful.
That's what we do here.
Make it beautiful. Make it beautiful.